Video games are an art form, and an integral aspect of creating one is immersion. If the world you're currently exploring in feels like it's alive and has a history, it becomes far more memorable. Asset design, voice acting, music, all of these are extremely important aspects to creating a good video game, a well-crafted experience that help you feel like you're actually in another universe. One of the best ways to explain to a player that a place is occupied is through the use of clutter. Items are part of environmental storytelling, a mostly unique to gaming plot device that expands upon a narrative through the use of exploration and observation. Random objects that occupy a space and serve no purpose beyond making you feel like these places are more natural are extremely important when making a convincing environment. Without junk, areas start to feel unsettling, too pristine. That's part of the reason why empty buildings or liminal spaces are so off-putting, and why quote-unquote pointless objects are needed to make the player feel more at home. They imply that someone was here before you, which makes a given universe feel organic, and like I said before, immersive. One of my favorite parts of clutter design, and a very underrated way to further cement the idea that a digital world has occupants, is the creation of posters, signage, fake products, and logos. In real life, these are created to be eye-catching so that they can try to sell you something, direct you a certain way, or send your mind on a particular train of thought. In games, they serve many of the same purposes, as well as a few others. Witty Easter eggs, fun inside jokes, or obscure lore are often placed around an environment in the form of posters or products. These are oftentimes very easy to miss, especially in fast-paced games like Halo or Doom. So let's shine a light on one of the more obscure elements of Halo by taking a look at some of my favorite posters, logos, and just garbage in general. Then perhaps analyze them from an in-universe lore-based perspective wherever applicable. Please keep in mind that this is not meant to be an exhaustive list. This is just some stuff that I noticed. If you think I missed something really cool, let me know in the comments. One of the very first things that comes to mind when I think of signage in Halo is the screen on the bridge of the Pillar of Autumn in the first mission of Halo CE. It has a ton of funny little messages on it. Let me show you. On the right is a poster that takes up the most real estate. It's a piece of motivational propaganda reminding the soldiers aboard the Pillar of Autumn what it is they're fighting for. It simply reads, "Fight for her." The her in this instance is Earth. Just to the left of that, and mostly covered by a keyboard, which in of itself seems to indicate that this is some kind of computer screen rather than an actual whiteboard with real physical paper, is another poster that reads, "Attention Marines, callbacks for South Pacific?" Above that and to the left is an active duty roster for the ship, but unfortunately the actual names aren't legible. Just below is a smaller poster that says, "Lost, Calico Cat answers to Jonesy." This is likely a reference to Alien and Ripley's cat with the same name. In universe, I can't help but feel like this is very tragic, considering the fate of the majority of the Pillar's crew. I suppose Jonesy remained lost, along with her human companion. To the left is another poster. This one says, "Marines, scooters are for squirts, no scooters on deck," which is hilarious to me because it seems to imply there was a problem with soldiers driving scooters around on the Pillar of Autumn. I can just imagine Captain Keyes getting pissed off at a bunch of jackasses riding around. Further to the left is the first instance of the phrase, "keep it clean," which would later become a rather famous line in Halo 3 ODST, uttered by New Mombasa's superintendent, Virgil. In this instance, it's asking Marines to simply pick up after themselves. The final poster is an advertisement that's attempting to sell what appears to be an entire colony ship. I think they may have missed their target audience. Switching over to the anniversary graphics, which were created for Halo CE's 10th anniversary, reveals a whole slew of new posters. The largest is another piece of propaganda that says, "Defy the Covenant," and illustrates 3 Spartans looking off into the horizon. Their armor sets were all introduced in Halo Reach. The Spartan in the foreground is equipped with a commando helmet that has a hardened uplink attached to it. The purpose of the device is to provide the wearer with a direct line to a communications satellite. The middle Spartan is equipped with a pilot helmet, which also has a hardened uplink, in addition to a UA, or up-armored attachment on the forehead. It simply serves as additional protection for the all-important cranium. The final Spartan has donned an EVA helmet. Underneath is a notice that says, "All units, VTARs must be submitted for final approval by 0700 every Tuesday. Units in VTAR non-compliance will be subjected to additional review by Franch Inspector, Major Camarano. This notice will serve as your final reminder." I have no idea what this is referencing, but it's likely some kind of internal joke among developers because I couldn't find the term VTARs or any information about it online. To the left is a simplistic sign that says work for hire, any job, 2 weeks, and in parentheses it says is easy. Above it is a couple pictures of an opossum with the text cat found, light tan with black and gray, female, no collar, not very friendly. I think she might be scared. Not housebroken either, found on 75th. Which I guess means the 75th deck of the ship? I'm not sure. The Pillar of Autumn is big, but 75 decks seems a little excessive. It also says, if she's yours, call Dan, followed by a number. I guess Dan isn't too bright because that's not a cat. Just imagine the poor opossum that climbed onto the Pillar of Autumn getting discovered by a dumbass Marine. Poor thing wandered onto the wrong ship. I wonder if the flood turned her into a combat form. Opossum combat form. Damn, I guess I better go fix my complete Halo Bestiary, which you should totally go watch if you haven't. Or, you know what? Watch it again. Yeah, go watch it again if you already have. Slightly to the left is a picture of a goose with a golden egg that simply says, have you seen my goose? He is missing. Reward offered. Once again, the idea that somebody on the Pillar of Autumn just straight up brought a goose on board is hilarious. Further beyond the missing goose is a poster for a band called Fist of the Unicorn, advertising a special encore performance in the main hangar. These guys must have been unable to board the Pillar of Autumn before it fled from reach because they're alive for something later, and if they had actually made it onto the ship, they'd be very, very dead. The final advert appears to be for a movie called Dark Planetoid Rising. Funnily enough, this is actually a still from Halo 3's legendary ending. In the bottom left corner is a troll face. I guess it was placed there to kind of screw with the player by reminding them that the legendary ending was still unresolved at the time of this game's release. I hate to say it, but these are better than the original graphics. This is some 10 out of 10 clutter. This lovely piece of signage is the cafeteria menu found on the Pillar of Autumn within the mess hall. I'm having the chef special with some orange to drink. How about you? Switching to the anniversary graphics modifies the menu a bit and of course changes the appearance entirely. I feel like this one change perfectly summarizes my issues with the anniversary graphics. Sometimes they're just too bright and shiny. Thanks to the fact that Halo CE barely takes place in any human environments, the first mission is really the only one worth mentioning, so let's move on to Halo 2. I don't have much to say about this other than, what a catchy brand name. At least it's honest, I guess. Oh, and this is what it looks like in classic graphics, by the way. Soda. Mission 4 of Halo 2, Outskirts, is actually the entire reason I wanted to make this video in the first place. This map is filled with fun clutter. Let me show you. Starting off strong with this poster for a Fist of the Unicorn cover band called Fluke of the Narwhal, followed closely by the Mombasa Circus. These alone are amazing, but wait, it gets better. You can also find a copy of a newspaper called The Daily Bulletin that covers the fall of Reach. There's even a picture of Mount Torat. Torat? I don't know, this is how it's spelled. Which, in case you forgot, is where Noble Six's helmet ended up. Other issues of the Daily Bulletin are plastered on the walls as well. This one has an image of Cairo Station, as well as a few shots of the surrounding area. I'm very disappointed that the text isn't legible. I'm pretty sure there's actually words there, but the resolution just isn't high enough to read them. This issue of the Mombasa Times is pretty fun. The text reads, Corbulo gone but not forgotten, and is accompanied by a bunch of images taken from Halo 4 forward unto Dawn. The military school called Corbulo Academy is where that particular story took place. There's also this funky little poster that's nothing but a few ink blots, clearly rendered illegible due to water damage. I think that's neat. Switching over to the classic graphics reveals something much more obscure. One of the more common posters is this image of a flaming skull. You can also find newspaper articles that have images of the Master Chief on them. I believe this is a shot from the Halo 2 E3 demo environment. Below that, I have no idea. Just to the right is another newspaper that's mostly not readable, save for the word Minotaur, I think? Maybe? There's also this, and that. For some reason, there's little posters of numbers everywhere too. For years, I thought they had something to do with the I would have been your daddy skull, but that's not the case, so I've got nothing. They look roughly the same in both classic and anniversary graphics. The first courtyard of the mission contains this awesome billboard that serves as a piece of military propaganda and is only visible in the anniversary graphics. I love it. It's a shot from Halo Wars that was clearly utilized by the UNSC in an attempt to drive people to join their ranks. Sometime after it was placed here, someone spray painted the words, "The end is near" in the corner. Not far from it, once again only in the anniversary graphics, is this little corner advertising the notoriously corrupt NMPD. On many of the nearby buildings are different logos for companies as well. This one is for Acheron Security. These two, I'm not sure. Way off in the distance on some buildings that appear on the next level is a big logo for Hannibal Weapons Systems, one of the primary defense contractors that provides for the UNSC. They make tons of shit, ranging from Mantis to Mjolnir armor sets. I also really like all of the various advertising that was added for Hotel Zanzibar. This is a really great billboard. I'm sold. Right underneath the entrance to the hotel is a malfunctioning screen that has an image of Virgil, the AI that helps guide the rookie through the Mombasa streets during Halo 3 ODST. Though this isn't technically an ad or anything, I still think it's neat and therefore worth mentioning. This area is also littered with trash that only renders in the anniversary graphics and has some neat little details to point out. My personal favorite are the boxes of Sweet Williams cigars, which by the way are the smokes that Johnson so thoroughly enjoys. There's also a bunch of these interesting bottles. They look like discarded alcohol or something, but it's difficult to really tell. I like the logo though. Crushed soda cans are scattered around the area too, but nothing on them is legible, sadly. The logo for a company called Cobb Industries can be found all over different crates and cargo containers in both old and new graphics. We know absolutely nothing about this company in lore. In the beginning of Metropolis, there's a small display that, when viewed, at least in the new graphics, is another message from Virgil. It says, "Obey posted limits, yield to uphill traffic. Please remain calm." The final line being another one of the famous quotes first uttered in Halo 3 ODST. Just before entering the covered tunnel is yet another logo atop a building. This one is for a company called Hynos, which apparently makes drinks. At least that's what Halopedia says, but they have no sourcing on this claim, so take it with a grain of salt, I guess. The heart of the city contains a bunch of interesting stuff, such as this little animated sign for a bank called African Trust. Just to the right of it is a rather fancy billboard advertising Lethbridge Industrial, yet another defense contractor for the UNSC. They make Mjolnir variants as well as equipment like jetpacks. Just to the left of that is a building with the word Feuder on it. This construction contractor was flagged by Oni for potentially aiding in the terrorist attack on Cedra seen in Halo Nightfall. Just above it is the logo for Misraya Armory. These guys are the #1 provider of weapons and vehicles for the UNSC. They manufacture iconic armaments like the assault rifle, the battle rifle, and vehicles of equal acclaim such as the Warthog or the Hornet. More to the left is another logo for Hannibal. This one is pretty cool. Slightly to the left is a symbol that represents a company called Jotun Heavy Industries, responsible for the production of farming equipment, most notably seen in the novel Contact Harvest, or I guess described. On the street level is a logo for AMG Transport Dynamics, most well known for creating the original design for the M12 Warthog. Across from it is another logo for a company called Cascade Stronghold Technologies. They too are a defense contractor known mostly for designing some more outlandish armor sets like Ricochet-class Mjolnir. In the area where the Wraiths are bombarding a nearby building is a giant sign that says Terub Industries. There's not much information about what these guys do, but it's worth mentioning that Terub is Barrett backwards, likely a reference to Chris Barrett, one of Bungie's level designers. For some weird reason, in the anniversary graphics, this logo was replaced with Franchbot Industries. There's equally little information about them in universe. Tucked away in a darkened corridor near the Wraith encounter is a huge billboard for a golden warthog that reads, "Hog, Beauty, Beast. It's untouchable. Devin M. Smith, Portland Boat Cop Review," as well as "Drive Responsibly." Towards the end of the mission where the Scarab gets stuck is the logo for Imbrium Machine Complex. They make, you guessed it, Mjolnir armor designs. The public nature of the Spartan 4 program really opened the floodgates to just about anyone, I guess. Maybe I'll start designing some Mjolnir. I'll call it Woody Class Mjolnir, and each set will come equipped with a very stylish cowboy hat. Of course we can't talk about signage in Halo 2 without bringing up the iconic Golden Warthog ad on Headlong. Drive with reckless abandon in the new 12th Gen Hog. Comfort, luxury, bone-crushing power. It's beauty and the beast. Back in the day, there were so many bullshit rumored ways to get this bad boy to spawn, but none of them were true, unfortunately. Even so, it still holds a special place in my heart. Turf has quite a few signs, but most of them are either a combination of being too low res to read or in a language I don't speak, probably Swahili. There's also this funky vending machine with what I'm guessing is a nod to Rooster Teeth? Well, this confirms my suspicion. Red versus blue. Rooster Teeth. Terminal has a few interesting things too, like this little map that indicates where the play space is relative to the surrounding area. There's also a poster over here that I'm assuming is supposed to encourage you to join the UNSC, but there's no logo or anything, so I'm not sure. Not the greatest advertising, I suppose. I really love the blast soda machine that you can find on Tombstone. District has this little header thing too. No idea what this is meant to represent. There's also a defaced golden warthog billboard. I can't make out exactly what it says though. Pulp. What is it? Is there an R in front of pulp? Let's go with pulp. Olean says shush. Yeah, let's go with that. My favorite thing about District though is the Voy Theater. It has 3 movies playing. Well, actually 4, but there's only 3 on the marquee here. Acha, Watu, Wasio, Bilari, Yunja. I'm butchering the pronunciation, I'm sure. These are the posters. I'm not really sure what this one is. I guess it's kind of just an abstract thing. This one kind of fits that description as well. This one is, I guess, a giant chicken and a dog. And then this one, a guy and a building, maybe? I don't know, I can't really tell what they are, but I do like them. The final thing I want to show you before moving on to Halo 3 is some graffiti in Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer, specifically on the map Stone Town. For the most part, there's nothing crazy, but I just wanted to show you a few bits and pieces of it because it's a nice attention to detail. My favorite is this little robot looking guy. Also, this is Ling, which is a bizarre inside joke at Bungie, I think. The only information I could really find was an old halo.bungie.org post discussing it, and all I have to say is, what the f***? Link in the description if you want to see yourself. Just be warned, it's disturbing, especially for a dog lover. Oh, every Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer map also has a hidden blast soda can. The first mission of Halo 3 that has something fun is Crow's Nest. You can find cheese snacks. There's a bunch of other trash around here too, like this thing. Here's a spreadsheet, some kind of ticket maybe, a giant barcode, a newspaper with the headline, Covenant on Earth, accompanied by an image that is completely impossible to discern. I'm blown away that humanity still makes printed newspapers in 2552. There's another one here. I have no clue what it says, but I know a grunt when I see one. I'm something of an expert thanks to my legendary 0 grunt kill runs of Halo CE and Halo 2. Yes, I beat the entirety of Halo CE and Halo 2 on Legendary without killing any grunts. It is much more difficult than you think. You should go watch those after this. Please, it was really hard. Then there's this thing. I can't even figure out which orientation is right side up. There's another newspaper called Daily Something News. I have no idea what the middle word is. Oh, this is a good one. Just plain cigarettes. No brand, that's it. There's a soda can that just says cola. I think this is a box of Chinese food. It looks like there's a dragon on the packaging. Dragon mine. Now, I wonder if Bungie or 343 has better versions of all these textures somewhere where the text isn't compressed and actually readable. That would be pretty cool to see. There's a few weird little signs and whatnot inside one of the small buildings right before the first shield door on Savo Highway. Due to the texture quality in Halo 3, it's impossible to determine what exactly these say, sadly. It looks like a lot of official documentation though. There's a pie chart, some kind of flow chart, a few other forms, and a sticky note. This one in particular actually has a signature on the bottom right corner. Of course, it isn't legible. The Storm has a big Traxxas Heavy Industries logo right in the beginning. They manufacture a bunch of random shit. There are semis with Synoviet Heavy Machinery's logo as well. They make spacecraft and sewage systems, I guess? A bit further into the building, you can find a work schedule. I don't think anyone is going to make it to their shift, though. Moving on, there's some more cool trash a bit further on, like this music ad? Maybe a CD? I'm not sure. Here's another Jonesy reference, and a UNSC draft that, you guessed it, I can't read, which upsets me. I mean, I can read. I just can't read this. Towards the end of the mission, you can find a missing persons poster for Jason Jones, one of Bungie's co-founders. I guess this sort of canonizes his existence in Universe 2. The text beneath his picture is a little difficult to read, but there's obviously a full write-up here, so I'll do my best to read it to you. File number 1-17343. Name, Jason Jones. Sex, male. Height, 5'9". Weight, 160 pounds. Hair, dark brown. Eyes, dark brown. Last seen in Voi and New Mombasa wearing khaki shorts and a dark baseball cap. Missing since November 9th, 2552. This is the second notice issued for Jason Jones, whom was last seen in Voi and the New Mombasa Badlands after the Covenant invasion in 2552. If you have any information on this individual, please contact the local authorities or call any of the numbers below to file new information on this case. Voi Greater Outlands Police Bureau. The number is smudged out. Western African Committee on Missing Persons. Jumping over to multiplayer, the map Foundry has this funny little poster of a soccer ball that simply reads, "It glows." I'm not going to go too crazy with Halo 3's multiplayer maps simply because I already have two 30-minute videos on the channel dedicated to all of the hidden lore within them. Go give those a watch after this if you're interested. With that being said, I do still want to mention Frank's Formed Fish, which can be found on Longshore. They sell things like tacos, nuggets, and other fish-centric products. Their logo is this cute little whale guy. I don't know what F3 is supposed to mean, but yeah, this is their billboard. Bizarrely, one of their logos actually changes as time progresses. The dude's eye opens. Very weird Easter egg. Kinda creepy. The final Halo 3 environment I want to bring up is Icebox, one of the 3 new multiplayer maps that were introduced with an update to Halo the Master Chief Collection. It's a remake of Turf, but instead of taking place in Africa, it seems to take place in Russia. The streets of Icebox contain a bunch of different stores, such as an electronics shop, a hardware store, a warehouse, a bar, a hostel, a hospital or pharmacy, a quote-unquote mini-market, restaurant number 1, restaurant number 2, this and that. Outside the actual play space are a bunch of billboards as well. Here's one, another one, and one that's in English, which simply says City Shop. Another Cascade logo adorns a nearby building as well. Halo 3 ODST is littered with, litter. Like this piece of paper that says Technique.
Technique.
I found this billboard as well that says Mombasa's #1 choice for personal transportation, 3 years running. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Who sieves Jeanette? Who sieves Jeanette? Who sieves Jeanette? There's something wrong with me. Who sieves Jeanette Coupe redefines compact luxury. Let's look into the skyline for a moment. We'll see a bunch of stuff up here like, look, Jotun, we know them, remember? Here's the logo for Traxxas. And over here, look, Hynos is back. They're gonna sell us a drink, supposedly. And then over here, this is a new one. You've never seen this one before. This is Ascalon, which is apparently just AMG Transport Dynamics. I don't know if it's supposed to be a subsidiary or something, but that's what it is. So, moving on. And if you look down here, there's a piece of paper that's covered in text that isn't readable. There are also these ID cards scattered all over the place. Each of them depicts a Bungie employee, but I'm not sure I'd be able to match names to all the faces. I doubt I found them all either. They're kind of everywhere. The text on these is actually legible as well, as you can see by these two on the right, which are higher resolution for some reason, but it's just gibberish. These two little screens are pretty neat. The first one is advertising the New Mombasa Transit Authority, and the bottom one is a piece of UNSC propaganda, with the goal of course, getting you to enlist. Though I don't know what they mean by repopulation consideration. Here's an ad for a company called Virant Telecom, and would you look at that? Just below is the triangle from the Halo 2 anniversary section of the video that I didn't know the meaning of.
These two, I'm not sure.
Now we know. Virgil was nice enough to show me these Mombasa Transit Authority multi-day passes by just spitting them all over the floor in front of me. Speak of the devil, here's a cutout of the cute little guy I found on the ground. This is an interesting advertisement. I guess it's letting the viewer know that they can send their packages via the New Mombasa space elevator. On the flip side is yet another piece of UNSC propaganda, similar to the one we just looked at a little bit ago on the streets. Okay, this is a really interesting one. It appears to be a collection of silhouettes of Covenant weapon designs. None of these really resemble any actual guns that were used in the game though. But I'll be damned if this doesn't look suspiciously like the Pulse Carbine, which is really interesting because this came out way before Halo Infinite. I'm assuming this is like a piece of concept art that just made its way into the game as a Easter egg maybe? I'm not sure, it's really interesting though. Here's another product that makes me irrationally angry because I can't read any of it. Now these posters are really, really interesting, and I'll explain why. At first glance, they don't look like anything special. The one on the left is a list of cities followed by the logo for Ascalon, so I'm assuming these are locations that AMG Transport Dynamics operates out of. The one on the right though is a piece of propaganda that says "For Her." Beneath that is the logo for Miss Raya Armory. The weird thing about this poster though is that it was actually changed when they brought Halo 3 ODST over to the Master Chief Collection. Originally it looked like this, an obvious reference to Destiny. Why they felt the need to change this, I have no idea. It's pretty vague. I sincerely doubt they could get any real trouble in terms of copyright. Besides, the Marathon logo is literally plastered all over the place in Halo, so I don't understand. Here's a small sampling of graffiti that you can find while wandering the Mombasa streets. I love these. These symbols are pretty infamous, and another creator by the name of RocketSloth has some great videos going over them. Unfortunately, they don't lead to some cool Easter egg. They have no translation or meaning or anything like that. Instead, in universe, they're just symbols that were created by the engineers to mark certain locations. Here are a couple of other interesting advertisements that you can find on the streets. The big one on the right, Mainz Traeger, I have no idea what that's advertising. On the left, though, that's Optican, obviously. They're responsible for manufacturing all the health packs and health stations that you see around the city. Their CEO has also gotten into some interesting shenanigans as of late. This right here, this is the shit. I love everything about this. Webos, your mom loves them. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. This is the exact kind of thing I was looking for when I decided to start making this video. The Uplift Nature Reserve has a bunch of these little posters depicting the animals that inhabit the nearby enclosures. They're simple but effective, I suppose. Here's a map of the Uplift Nature Reserve. It's not very helpful though because I have no idea where I am in relation to any of the symbols. I found this book on the mission Npdhkwa. It's very low resolution, but I think it's supposed to be abstract, maybe? Or it just looks like shit, I don't know. This is literally Minecraft Master Chief right here. I know the timing is way off considering Halo 3 ODST came out in 2009 and the Halo Minecraft mashup pack didn't come out until 2014, but that is Minecraft Master Chief. Not far from Pixelated MC is another book. This one says Military Vehicle, accompanied by an image of a warthog. The final, most important thing in all of Halo 3 ODST that I wanted to mention is this guy. Look at him. I honestly expected Halo Reach to have a lot more interesting stuff, but I left kind of disappointed with it. But what I did find I'll show you, such as these 3 posters right here. I have no idea what's going on with these. The one on the left is like an odd one out type scenario. I have no idea. Maybe the middle one is like a reference to Space Invaders where all these ships are protecting Reach. I don't know, I'm just making this up as I go. The one on the right, which looks like a list of names, some of them are crossed out. The resolution, of course, is too low to read them. This is on Winter Contingency, by the way. There are also these big bags of mulch that simply say Mulcher on the front. What a fantastic brand name. I have no idea what this is aiming to represent, but something about it is interesting to me. You can also find these discarded bags that say the word meal on them. I'm not sure if it's meant to be like a pre-prepared dinner or if this is perhaps for farm animals or something. It's really impossible to say because most of the smaller, finer text is once again illegible. The later half of the mission Oni sword base has these very official looking clipboards, but once again, I can't read them. It even looks like there's a little signature at the bottom. There's a section of the mission Nightfall where you go into some people's houses and you can find some shelves that are absolutely overloaded with books, but sadly none of them have any interesting covers or information on the spines. Here's a bag of chips? I'm not sure, but that logo on the front looks really familiar to me. What is that? Wait a second, that's the logo for MasterCard, right? Yeah, it totally is. Okay, bag of MasterCards, I guess. Tip of the Spear has the first mention of the BXR Mining Company, which is a reference to a button combo you could press in Halo 2 that would allow you to kill another player basically instantly. In universe, they're responsible for gathering some of the material needed to build Mjolnir. One operation in particular is explored in the Halo Infinite trailer, UNSC Archives Lightbringers. If you've never seen it, you should go watch it because it is fantastic. I also just so happen to have a video going over all of the lore behind Halo's trailers too. In it, I go much more in depth about Lightbringers and many other iconic promotional materials, so maybe watch that after this. Here's a bag of something. I feel like there's definitely words here, but once again, the resolution of the texture is just too low. On the off chance that someone from Bungie or 343 is watching this, I'm talking to you, Haraspis, and they have access to any of these textures, I would be elated to see them, because I know that there's some nutrition facts here. I know it. Speaking of which, Exodus has these delightful fast food menus, and holy shit is this stuff cheap. I guess Reach has no inflation at all. I mean, come on, $7.77 for a combo meal? These prices are better than modern day McDonald's. No wonder MOAs have practically gone extinct. They all got eaten. Right before boarding the only elevator in the mission, you can find a bunch of pictures on the wall of, I guess this is supposed to just be pretty colors. Frankly, I am not a fan of abstract art. You can take your rabbit in a snowstorm and shove it up your ass, as far as I'm concerned. I love that New Alexandria's Caracalla Park has its own little logo. I think this is a new piece of Synoviet branding? I forget. I expected a lot from Club Herrera, but I was left quite disappointed. There's nothing worth mentioning in this place besides the symbol used to represent the club itself. On to multiplayer, starting with Breakneck, which has a version of the Golden Warthog billboard. Let's be honest, it couldn't possibly be a remake of Headlong without it. This map also has a bunch of these pictures that I'm assuming are real shots that a Bungie or 343 employee took that were then repurposed into wall textures. I think this one on the left might even be Mount Rainier. Halo 4 has nothing really notable in its campaign, mostly thanks to the fact that none of it takes place within human environments. Multiplayer has a lot of stuff though, such as these papers on Adrift. The resolution on these, once again, makes them a bit tricky to interpret. Aside from this one, that's obviously a Mantis blueprint. The map Shatter has a couple of snazzy logos for a company called Materials Group. They are, you guessed it, a defense contractor, or at least that's what they want you to believe. In actuality, they are a division of ONI Section 3 that poses as a contractor. Landfall has several new logos to check out. This one is the actual city's insignia. There's also some new Hannibal branding, as well as some additional logos for a company called Naftali Contract Corporation. They make Spartan 4 armor sets. How many people are working on that project? Skyline has a ton of stuff to look at, starting with this new Lethbridge Industrial logo. Here's another for something called MO Consortium, with an additional tiny Lethbridge Industrial logo in the bottom left corner. Much like Casbah, the city of Mindoro also has their own insignia. In the upper regions of the map are a bunch of these holographic displays that have multiple layers, giving them a three-dimensional look. They're very cool. There are some more papers scattered about on the floor as well. It's difficult to tell what they are, exactly. I saved the best for last, though. This poster is awesome and very immersive. It's also got the logos that I already mentioned in the bottom left corner to denote who worked on this project. I love this. For some reason, Daybreak has a new UNSC logo that I've never noticed elsewhere. Perdition has another unique city logo, or maybe it's the facilities itself? I'm not sure. If you look skyward, you'll see a bunch of animated billboards containing advertisements for companies like Traxxas and so on. I like these too. The final thing from Halo 4 that I wanted to include is on the map Vertigo. I really just wanted to read this sticker to you because it's a little weird. Danger! Strong magnetic field. No metallic implants. No neurostimulators. Serious injury may result. What the hell is a neurostimulator? My mind immediately goes to dirty places, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. Or does it? Just like that, we're on to everyone's favorite entry in the series, Halo 5 Guardians. Blue Team contains this sign, and though it doesn't really fit the theme, it made me laugh. Weapons prohibited in this area. This is a no-weapon zone, as a literal firefight rages on behind me. Here's a computer monitor of a jackal brain scan that's been affected by a disease. Isn't it neat? The next mission, Glast, has a logo for the Liang Dortmund Corporation, a mining company akin to BXR. Here's a cleaner, much more simplistic logo for the same company. I also found this blueprint, but I'm not entirely sure what it's depicting. A slipspace engine, maybe? Yeah, I don't think so. I love these Renewing World posters. They advertise the fact that this company has returned to a planet previously glassed by the Covenant in order to chip away the harsh crust and make the world habitable again. Here's that PN logo again, too. This is one of the bits of branding I showed you back in the Halo 2 anniversary section of the video. On to the next mission. Meridian Station. I can't remember the names of any of these. Starting off strong though, Orange Soda with a J. There's also this cute advertisement for a food station and supplies, which is a little t-shirt. Within one of the buildings is this cool suppressor blueprint as well. There is a lot of multiplayer shit, like this new logo for Lethbridge Industrial, or this weird facility insignia. These can be found on the map Riptide, obviously. Plaza is covered with interesting things, so I'm going to try and move kind of quickly. Take a gander at these propaganda posters though. I always love these.
UNSC, UNSC, UNSC.
Sorry. Here's something called Ocor, Pharmaboa, a pawn shop, Fish, Mount Emmy, Granado, Enzo's Churrascaria, Bamboo Food Court, more pawn shop, bail bonds, dim sum, money transfer, weird assault rifle sticker, Mayama's, Star Thing, more Star Thing, skull with crown, an amazing propaganda poster depicting the UNSC Infinity. Are you legal? Legal status is easier than ever. Skin, geisha lady. Need a job, we want you. An alternate Are You Legal poster. Need work? Yet another cool propaganda sign. Yuki's, a weird rocket sticker. The ultimate sibling to Orange, Gurn soda. Here's my absolute favorite thing though. The menu for Enzo's, which is completely legible. You can see every individual item, thank goodness. Go ahead and feast your eyes on that one for a little bit. Ooh, this is a good one. Promisa, the #1 shopping destination in the quadrant. Even the Dark Brotherhood has a presence here. That's how you know the economy is doing great. Because murder is not cheap. We know. Overgrowth has some notable stuff too, like this funny alternate UNSC logo. The eagle has been replaced with a chicken. There are a few restaurants too, such as Yoya, or this place. Here's Fang Huang Diamonds and Jewelry, Galeria Endinos, Jalan Pasar Market, Amaro Dreams, and another Pharmaboa sign. The only reason I'm including these is because they remind me of the custom buttons that Ripley has to press in the end of Alien, and I love those. Finally, a random 10-pixel billboard way out in the distance of a map I forget the name of. It doesn't matter. Some of the best things can only be found in Forge mode, such as this soda can labeled Future. I know, it seems boring until you look at the back. It actually has nutrition facts, as well as a bunch of Latin underneath for some reason that I am too lazy to translate. This other design says Future Pop, and for some bizarre reason, the reverse texture is terrible quality when compared to the first can I showed you. To complete the holy trinity of colored sodas with Gurn and orange is blue. You can also spawn this Andesian robotics sign, which is kind of interesting. As far as I know, there's not really any information about these guys. Here is the real shit though. I mean, just look at this thing. Kick your tongue in the face. Goss Sparkling Lemon. Team Tannhauser versus Team Orion in the Galactic Griffball League. So I guess Griffball has become an in-universe sport that Spartans compete in? Look! Have Samoa Burgers, the all-new space elevator with cheese. Absolutely delightful. 117, Heroes Never Die, November 7th. Hail to the Chief. Hashtag Heroes Never Die. Brought to you by Ship It Pictures, in collaboration with the UNSC. Music by Fist of the Unicorn. See? Fist of the Unicorn! Remember when I said they couldn't have made it onto the Pillar of Autumn because they're alive later?
These guys must have been unable to board the Pillar of Autumn before it fled from reach because they're alive for something later, and if they had actually made it onto the ship, they'd be very, very dead.
Now you know what I was talking about. Get the fun out. Who Civ? Great crate, great crates, low rates. Unleash the luxury. Enjoy the latest in comfort and off-road performance with the 2558 Hog. Now available at all Core AMG dealerships. Sick or injured during a glass mining operation? Get paid! Contact us today. Glass lung, safety violation, vitamin C deficiency, death, smelting accidents, food poisoning, decapitation, light fever, falling rocks, falling machinery, falling downstairs, and more. I'm so glad that QR code tech still remains in the 2550s. And I did scan this with my phone, it just takes you to Halo Waypoint. Saving the best for last once again, the all-new full-stack ground pounder with cheese! This beautiful burger is comprised of Constellation of Sesame Seeds buns, Cedron red fruit, Ugparasa smoked Mobius bacon strips, 2x space cheddar, Techno artisanal Cascade green leaf lettuce, chicken, 100% UNSC deradiated A-grade Moa Angus. This billboard is just delightful. Next up is Halo Infinite, which has a ton of stuff to look at. It's basically all in multiplayer though, thanks to the fact that the entirety of the campaign takes place on a Halo. Starting off with Aquarius, both the name of the map and the company responsible for creating this logo. Much like Liang Dortmund, they specialize in terraforming. This map has a bunch of bags of fertilizer that have no branding at all, they just say the word fertilizer on them. My favorite thing though is this little whiteboard that depicts a drawing of the map Livefire, in addition to some stats and a goofy little drawing of a warthog preparing to splatter a grunt. Recharge has a logo for a company called Axis Hydroelectric. They got so big that they now control local governments to better allocate themselves resources. I'm sure that will end spectacularly. Both Bazaar and Streets have a lot of the same garbage and things in them, so I'm just gonna lump them together for brevity. This is by no means everything that you can find on either of these maps. It's just some of my favorite stuff, some of the highlights. If I went over everything, this video would go on for far too long. Plus, I've already done that in another video where I went over the lore behind Season 1 of Halo Infinite's maps. Okay, moving on. Starting off strong with this amazing propaganda poster of the Master Chief. I don't know about you, but I'm inspired. Here are a couple more, this time depicting a Spartan 4 and some longswords. Here are some logos for various drinks: Pure, Spurt, Kenya Cola, and H2RO.
Ruh-roh, Raggy. H2RO.
What you're about to see is some of the greatest Halo lore you have ever witnessed. The Forerunner trilogy cannot hold a candle to this. Cardboard box lore. This is a company that makes boxes or does shipping called Rounder International. I know, but wait, there's more. Here's another one. This one's called Vertex. You're not gonna get this kind of content, this lore depth, anywhere else on YouTube, so you'd better subscribe. Occasionally hanging on the walls are images of the surrounding area, as well as an image of Tayari Plaza from ODST. Check out this flyer for NMPD. I'm still not joining though, those guys. As shitty as they may be, they do have quite a few nice posters. The weirdest thing they have in one of their offices though is this mural of the Master Chief. He has absolutely nothing to do with the NMPD, so I don't know why they're using him as an advertisement. Ironically, here's a weird poster that says, "Serving your community." These two items are each one of my favorites. Super clean, and a newspaper that has an image of the Master Chief from a scene in Halo 4. In the beautiful, balmy, basic, beloved Bazaar bar, you can find a few funny sticky notes that were left behind by an employee. They read, "The code is ADDQD, best Maharagwe in Africa. We're running out of stickers, use the rest of them wisely." Also in the bar are some brews with some custom labels like Tangana. Did you know Synoviet also makes bags of concrete? What's that? You don't care? Well, f you then. Ah, another lovely painting of our hero, the Master Chief. Thirsty? How about a nice frosty Dr. Orange? Not interested? No worries, we've also got Ice Mint, Goss Soda, of course, and Download something? I'm not sure. Look at this billboard. Wow, what a slogan. I didn't think they could possibly top punch your tongue in the face, and yet here we are. Drink like a Spartan, be a Spartan. Perhaps you'd prefer something more alcoholic? How about a frosty pint from the Dugout Bar? I love their little cheers signs. After all, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. You'll need a snack with your drink too. How about some milk chocolate with raisins? Or a vanilla pound cake? Something salty instead. Well, you could get some Chiplos, a bag of Crunch Bases hot and spicy, some Mamba King potato chips, or Chipix, which is almost certainly going to face a copyright lawsuit from Chiplos. Not much of a snacker, no biggie. Here's some Chinese food. Maybe you'd like to go to the food festival or the fish market located at 343 Main Street instead. Shopping list, chicken photograph, New Mombasa Energy Company, Inten Universe network member, shady sticky note that definitely isn't organizing a drug deal. There are a few book nooks in these maps too, and I love the titles of these tomes. Tale of the Lonesome Pigeon, almost certainly a tearjerker, or Covenant Hegemony, History of the Universe, Volume 3. These are funny because they're literally just titles of real Halo books. Warfleet, Meridian Divide, Silent Storm, Renegades, and whatever Library Edition Plus is. There's also some kind of UNSC service manual buried in here, but most of the cover is obstructed. In case you were wondering, most of these can be found in Jimmy's Books and Stationaries. Jimmy has a bunch of magazines to choose from as well. This one's cover depicts Linda's helmet. I think this is a picture of Bazaar? No idea here, something about entertainment. Quint's Food, Drink, and Friends. Some kind of military vehicle that I don't recognize but reminds me of a gremlin for some reason. This one is a little car. Finding Hugh. Wires Overhead. Ice Carnivory? Vina? How do you say relief? New Mombasa 2054 in memoriam. Picture. Welcome to Mombasa. Over 30 screens. What the hell does that mean? I guess this is a hybridized version of the blue team and silver team logos. Also, I love all of these fake credit card symbols. Look at this super stylish pigeon. Or maybe you prefer this blocky chicken? Here's an advertisement from AMG trying to sell a really goofy looking vehicle. An ad for Arcade Game Zone. I love this one. Once again though, saving the best for last. Here's Hollow Puppy. Man's best friend just got an upgrade. This is up there with Webos in terms of how much I love it. I just want to briefly touch on Livefire by showing you a few things that just make me sad. This one commemorates Noble 6 by using his helmet as a centralized graphic, but the school itself is named after Avery Johnson. You can also find this awesome decal of June that says World Class Sniper Unit. In case you didn't know, he survived the events of Reach and eventually became one of the architects behind the Spartan 4 program. I like that the launch site facility has its own branding for some reason. One of the newer maps, Illusion, has a bunch of these sticky notes that say, "We need more power for this section. Increase P sentiment factor. Get Kale before next test." And some kind of cube that I suppose is meant to be a sketch of the OG overshield pickup. Here's a hull repair patch kit. I wasn't aware that spaceships were like flotation devices. Well, that's all I've got, I suppose. You know, I expected this video to be quick and easy, not 47 minutes long and like 2 weeks worth of work. I don't think I am capable of making a short video. It just doesn't work, it doesn't happen. I don't do it on purpose, I swear. It just turns out that way. Well, now that we're here, and we're all here at the end together, I have to ask you to do a few things. I'd like you to subscribe, please, if you haven't already. Like this video, leave a comment, all that good stuff, you know. Engage with my channel, please, it's helpful. Maybe go watch some other stuff I've posted. That would be awesome. Otherwise, you know, I suppose that's all I've got. You know, you don't have to do all this stuff for me. Do it for her. See? She wants you to subscribe. Yeah. That's all I've got then. I'm gonna go play some Halo. See ya.